Hey everybody, Sensei James Wall here. I got Coach Josh helping out, and we're going to be going over the material in semester 4 of our junior judo curriculum. So we're going to cover all the requirements for that semester. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to work with throwing techniques first. Our first technique is going to be O-Uchigari, the large inner reap. And so for the kids, we'll have them do this from what we call a fencer step. So I'll have my partner put his left foot forward. That's an ideal time for me if I'm right-handed to attack for this particular throw. My right foot is forward, his left foot is forward, so they're very closely connected here. So for my judo grip, my right foot steps forward, the middle of his feet, my left foot follows it up. That's what we call that fencer step. One foot, then the other, one foot, then the other. The forward foot, in this case the right foot, is going to go between the legs, and I'm going to make a circle. I want to hook the back of my knee to the back of his knee. So here to here. I want to take my shoulder and turn to look over his shoulder to finish the throw. Let's see that from this side. So 1, 2, hook it, turn. We call that closing the gate or closing the door. Think about looking over his shoulder where I want him to fall. And I'm just reaping his leg out. When we say reaping it, it means we're taking the bottom, kicking it out from under the top. So O-Uchigari, large inner reap. Next technique is Seoi Otoshi, the drop knee shoulder throw. Most of the experienced kids will know this one. It does appear several times in the curriculum because it is one of the most common throws we see in randori and in competition. We want the kids to get lots of practice with it. We don't want them to fixate on only it, but they do need to know how to do it and how to defend against it. So for the drop knee shoulder throw, standard grip, my right foot is forward, left foot is back, right foot and right arm move together, and I want to put this arm under his armpit so I can clamp or grab his uniform. I don't want to put his arm on top of my shoulder by my neck, by my collarbone, things like that. Bad for my collarbone and shoulder, and also in the older divisions we could be choked. So we don't want to do that. We want to think about clamping it here or grabbing here, that. My left foot completes my turn, so I'm right in front of him. Notice there's no space between our hips. My back is touching his front, keeping my head on my balance, pulling forward. This is lifting and pushing. This is bringing his arm in close to my body. I'm going to drop to both knees at the same time, and I want to try to drop as deep as I can, as far under him as I possibly can. So I don't want to fall down out here and create space. If I create space, I lose power, I lose contact, I lose the ability to execute the throw in a good fashion. So you always want to maintain this good contact. Now I'm going to look down and turn to look away from him. He's on this shoulder, means I'm going to turn that way. So I pull down and turn to finish the throw. So for the kids, one of the hardest things that they struggle with is as they're going down, their mind kind of has a fear that they're going to land on their head or face. So they tend to want to let go with one or sometimes both hands and catch themselves. We really want them to hold on with both hands and simply turn here. If they do that, they will not land on their face and the throw is going to work a lot better. Okay. All right, so we're going to cover the third technique. It's going to be Kibisu Gaishi, the heel trip reversal. So first we're going to do a grip break by grabbing the sleeve, top of the hand, breaking his grip off, push it down so he can't reestablish it. My right hand shoots across, grabs his lapel again with that power hand grip we call it. Use my fencer step. 1, 2. Drive his hand down beside his thigh. My left hand is going to release and it's going to scoop all the way down to his heel. And I'm going to lift his leg, put his foot by my hip if I can. So I lift it up to put him down. Okay. If I continue my forward motion, another push or step, we can drive him back. So break. So Kibisu Gaishi, the heel trip reversal. Let's run through the pinning techniques. We only have 2 of those this semester. First one is Kata Gatami, the shoulder hold. Make sure I hit toward her. So for this particular pin, I'm going to take my opponent's arm and I'm going to actually take it across their face and their nose as much as I can. And I want to put their tricep deep in this pocket, this crook of my neck. My right arm is going to go behind their head. So here, deep fit in, arm behind his head. I can just grip my palms together like this, Or if I want, I could put one hand into the elbow, here and here. We typically teach the kids just to do it as a gable grip, one hand into the other. This knee beside his body, other foot comes up high. I want to be driving down through him toward the mat and squeezing. So with this one, it can be a little difficult for the kids because kata gatame is very, very, very similar to a technique called kata jume, which is a choking technique, an arm triangle, some folks call it. So if I put this hand here and lift and squeeze really hard, it's going to really enforce that choking effect where his shoulder is choking on this side, my forearm is choking him over here. So remember, in freestyle judo rules, age 11 is the minimum for doing choking techniques. So we don't want the kids pinning with this and applying it as a choke. We don't want them to focus all of their power into squeezing here. That would be illegal if they're under the age of 10. But they can use it as a pinning technique as long as they're just pinning him down and not really emphasizing putting the power into the choke. Okay? For the person on bottom, it can be a little scary because if they squeeze really tight, it does start to feel like a choke. So we want to remind the kids, if you're doing this in randori, someone catches you in this, if you feel like you're being choked, like you're really being choked, you need to tap your partner or tap the mat so they know to stop immediately. Nothing to be afraid of, we just need to be aware of what's happening, okay, and stop it before it does get to be a scary thing. So, here and here for kata gatame, our shoulder hold. Our next pin is kami shiho gatame. This is the upper four-corner hold. Some people call it the north-south hold. So I'm going to be above my opponent's head. My knees are slightly above his head. If you're the person on bottom, you're going to want to turn your head to the side so your nose doesn't get flattened out. I'm going to put arms beneath his shoulders. I'm going to grab his belt on both sides, pull him in tight. So my shoulders on his shoulders, my chest on his chest, my shoulders lined up with his shoulders, my knees go out nice and wide, and I hold him down very, very tightly here. Kami shiho gatame, the upper four-corner hold. And of course, we'll cover some various escapes from those pins. We'll work on that in class with the kids and help them find ones that work for their body type and size. Let's cover the miscellaneous mat work. So our first one is a hip sweep, a guard sweep, I should say, but it's the hip bump. I'm running my words together. So this guard sweep we call the hip bump with my opponent in my guard. What I want to do is get control of the arm that's on the side I want to sweep to. We say this over and over and over in class with the kids. If I want to sweep or knock my opponent down on this side, I can't let his arm be free to go out and touch the mat. If he can put his hand down on that side, he's going to stop my sweep 9 times out of 10. Same thing if I wanted to sweep him this way. If he can put this arm down over there, he's going to stop me from being able to knock him down over there. So I want to get control of this arm, and I want to do a sit-up. Put this arm over the top of his, and then I'm going to hug it real tight to my body. So my right hand is grabbing by his forearm and wrist, and my elbow goes over his elbow up to his bicep, tricep area. So I'm hugging him tight to my body. I don't want his hand free to go back out there. Here, tight, tight. Left hand down, lifts me up, and then I just rotate or twist to bump him over, just like that. Let's do that with my head toward the camera. So we grab the wrist, sit up, circle the arm, lift my weight up high, and bump him across. So that's our hip bump sweep from the guard. Our next one is going to be a level change. We call the bullfighter pass, a toreando pass. And we want the kids to actually stand up if they're in closed guard. But it could be that the opponent is already on the ground, they got knocked down, I didn't get my pin, so I'm actually standing up. I need to finish, need to pass guard. So the second half of this, that bullfighter pass, can start out from standing or from the ground. This semester we're working on starting in his guard, so I have to take steps to break his guard and stand up. That's what we call our level change. So let's see it from this angle first, and then we'll get sideways. So as we say always with the kids, flat base, tall, straight posture, short T-Rex arms. I've got my arms here inside his legs. I'm going to put my hands on his hips, pin his hips to the mat. Right knee is going to shift over, line up in the center of his body, center of his tailbone. So right knee comes over to the middle. Left foot goes back, and I push off with my hands and use my legs to pop up and back opens his guard. I want to have my right foot forward, my left foot back. I would not want to stand up with both feet equal. He can grab them and then he can sweep me from here, our double ankle sweep, among other things. So when I stand, it's one foot forward, one foot back. And we really want to focus on that with the kids to make sure they stand up correctly so they don't get swept too easily. These hands that were on his hips, once I stand, they're going to slide up to the inside by his knees. I'm going to take a real strong grip, and I want to twist that grip to make this gi fit really tight. I don't want there to be slack because that robs me of power. So when I twist it tight, drive them together, push forward. Now I'm going to step out and pin my right foot, right knee, right leg against his leg. I want that space all taken up. I don't want to be here. It gives him room to recover his guard. Make me have to fight a lot harder than I need to. So I pin him right here. Then I push his knees down, and I would go into whatever pin I want to execute. Let's see that with Coach Josh's head facing the other way. All right, so that's our level change and bullfighter pass. So third technique, miscellaneous mat work wise, is one of my favorite sweeps. It's called the kick sweep. And we'll do this one with my head toward the camera first. So with the kick sweep, same principle as hip bump. I'm going to sweep him that way, therefore I must control this arm. I'm going to grab his sleeve here, hold it tight to my body. My right hand needs to reach down and grab his pant leg as close to the bottom as I can. So sometimes we have to do a little bit of a turn, kind of bend our body a bit. I may not be able just to reach right here and get low enough. So I can use my legs to help me a little bit, or my feet pushing off the mat, whatever I need to do to get my body slightly to the side. Now it's easy to reach and grab the bottom of his pants. This right leg straightens and it kicks. And see the direction my toes are pointing? That way. That's the way the sweep's going to happen. So I use this kick to start the sweep. As he's going, I punch with this hand to finish the sweep until I'm on top. Let's see that from here. We'll do the other side as well for this one. So control, grab the pant leg, straighten my right leg, kick, and punch. All the way up. And just one more time here so we can see that leg grab, that pant grab. So here, here, kick, and punch. All the way up. So a deceptively simple sweep, but very effective as long as we can control the arm on the side that they want them to fall down on. If we can't do that, our sweeps are not going to work. All right, we're going to cover the two self-defense techniques now for semester 4. First one takes place when the bad guy tries to tackle us or do a double leg takedown, what we call in judo a rotate gari. This may not be a picture-perfect wrestling or judo style double leg takedown. In some cases, it's more like a charge, just a tackle attempt. But they're all very, very closely related. If the opponent breaks posture, if they're leaning over, if their head is pointed down and toward us, then we should be able to utilize this type of defense against that. If they're standing completely upright, obviously we have to do something else. In this case, they're bending over, trying to grab our legs to throw us down. So we're going to first sprawl. We try to crush them down, try to get them on the ground. They may land on their hands and knees and stop. They may go all the way to their stomach. It doesn't matter. We just don't want them grabbing our legs and taking them away from us. So the sprawl is super important here. Both of my legs need to shoot straight back on my toes or the balls of my feet with my legs extended and locked out so he cannot reach them and finish this. If I get lazy and drop my knees close to him or put one knee down close to him, he can still grab it and take it away from him. So we really want the kids working on getting their hands on the opponent and sprawling real strongly. So let's see this first one. We won't have our judo grip. We'll say it's kind of from a self-defense distance. As he shoots in, I'm going to get my hands on him, and I'm going to sprawl my legs way back. See, my toes are way back there. I got some weight on him. My hands on his body, elbows on his body, my chest on his back. From this position, we want the kids to spin and do a back take. We'll say sink your hooks in, basically. So I would not bring my knees up close to him and then try to go on back. As he grabs my knees, he's going to finish his throw. So I really didn't do myself any good. So I've got that sprawled position. I want to stay out a little bit, and I'm just going to spin around. So We practice this in warm-ups. We call it the spike drill. We do it for kids sometimes. I'll go from here to here onto his hip. I want to get one leg over, sink that hook or my heel into this hip. My other heel will go into this hip, and I want to try to get a seatbelt hold. This arm over this shoulder, under this armpit. So I can roll him over and basically sit up with him sitting in front of me. So I spun to here, I'll sink this hook, take my seatbelt, and I'll roll it. This semester, we want the kids getting to this position without crossing their ankles, both of our hooks in, and I want to move this to a pin. Whichever arm is under his armpit, I'm going to use that to circle and start driving this shoulder down. So as long as I keep this shoulder, I can put him on his back. So I was here, I'm going to go here, leg off, slide out and back, shove down, and then move myself around to the pin. So I'll do that again from here. This can take on a lot of different forms. It doesn't have to be exactly the way I do it. Everyone does it a little bit differently. The biggest thing is getting control of this shoulder and getting this right leg and foot out from under him. The biggest mistake people make when they first do this is they turn, but they leave this leg here, so now he ends up laying on it. And once I try to climb on top, it's really hard to do. So I have to really work on getting this leg out of the way before I pull him down on top of it. So here, hook the shoulder, use this hand on the mat. That lets me really make a big turn. So now I'm facing this way. This leg isn't here, it's way back here. This one across the stomach, hand drives it down, down, down. Now my leg's still free, so I can sit up and I can climb on top for the pin. So it's a lot of steps, but really we're just putting together a lot of basic maneuvers or basic techniques that we've taught the kids along the way in drills and warm-ups, and just combine those things. Sprawl, spin, take the back, and then we want to finish with a pivot technique. Second one is going to be versus a strike. In this case, it's a big right cross coming to my temple or my jaw, my nose. It's kind of like a haymaker type punch. We're going to use one of our techniques they learned for yellow stripe. We use Osoto Gari. But first we have to block that punch. We have to kind of close the distance. We have to enter a little bit. So if I'm standing here and I don't do anything at all, his punch will be coming, bam, right there. It's a big, just big, strong haymaker style punch. So if I'm doing this the way I'm supposed to, I've got my right foot forward, my left foot back, my hands are up, not blocking my face so I can't see, but they're ready to block if I need them to. As the punch starts, I'm going to enter and intercept it. So it's important, what I'm not trying to do is I'm not trying to take my hand and grab his arm. It's a very, very small target moving real fast. If I miss here, he hits me. If I miss here, he still gets me. So I want to make kind of like a fence or a wall with my forearm. So I block from here down to here. So anywhere in that area, I'm hoping to catch that punch. And I'm trying to catch it before it reaches full power and makes contact. So I want to intercept it. In some martial arts, they call it a stop hit. I want to intercept it with a stop hit. So I move in, block here, make a Y with this hand, strike the throat, pull his arm tight to my body as I lick my step. This is now basically a clothesline across his neck. Right leg comes through for Osoto Gari. Let's do that with his back. First. Strike, wrap, clothesline. And we'll do it one more time this way. Here, here, trap. All right, that's all the techniques for semester 4 in the junior curriculum. We're going to have a lot of fun working on them. Thanks a lot. See you on the mats.